I spent about half of the 2020s hosting a podcast called Delayed Replay, recapping and reviewing movies that came out on time in my universe but got delayed in that other universe. And as such, the movies as they were in my universe came out differently. Some listeners not of this universe even think that this is an improvised comedy podcast. And hey, let them think what they want. It's entertaining either way, right? I'm Steven Shinder, and you're listening to Delayed Replay Season 6. Hashtag 6 seasons about movies. New episode every other Saturday. Unless I say otherwise. Hey everyone, welcome to Season 6, Episode 26. That's right, 626. Which means there will be some Lilo and Stitch talk, the live action version. And yeah, Enrico brought this topic to my attention earlier this year, and so I did some digging, and surely enough, there were production delays for the film over in that other universe. And so with this being season 6, I figured, you know what, we gotta wait till episode 626 to do this, because it'll be so satisfying, like, maybe just for me, I don't know. But would you believe I went to Jack in the Box on Thursday night, and the order number ended up being 626. So I just love how that turned out, honestly. This episode about a Disney movie is also coming out the day after what would have been Walt Disney's birthday. That was not planned, so kind of a weird thing there. So before getting into that discussion with my friends, just want to let people know that Emily, my guest on last week's episode, she released on her YouTube channel a short film called Open Audition. It also features other friend who's also been on the podcast, Haley, and I also appear very briefly in this short. It's over on the YouTube channel of Emily Krause. I'll put the link in the show notes. So yeah, check that out now or after the show. It's just a few minutes, but yeah, without further delay, enjoy the show. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap or review movies that got delayed in that other universe but came out on time in our universe. I'm your host, Steven Shinder, and joining me for this episode is my friends Toni and Jesus, and big shout out to that baking Instagram page that they have, Chef Tony Bear. Yeah, that's with the @ symbol at the front. So check that out for any bake sales and deliveries and whatnot. But how are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good, and yourself?
I'm doing all right.
Hello, listeners. Chef Tony Bear here.
Yeah. So first off, we're talking about the live action Lilo and Stitch that came out like a year and a half ago in our universe. It came out like Wednesday, June 26th, 2024 for us, but in that other universe I had to delay it to like May of this year. So we've seen our version. We even got to see that version from that other universe that people are kind of upset about. But yeah, just in general, to start off, what's your guys' experience with Lilo and Stitch in general?
Me growing up used to watch the animated version like every day. It was either between that or Monster Inc. But growing up, I was a big Lilo and Stitch fan, and kind of stepped away from that for a bit. But as of lately, got back on that train.
Right, and that's the original movie, right? Like, you didn't really explore like the stuff that came after.
Correct.
Okay, what about you, Toni?
Yeah, I didn't really explore the stuff after. I had mixed feelings about even watching the new one just because I gotten so attached to the animated version. And then when I saw the live action and just seeing how they made Stitch, I just had mixed feelings because I was very attached. But no, I mean, I also saw it growing up, and I had a Lilo doll, and I would pretend that she was like my little baby, and I would take her everywhere, in the bath, in the pool, anywhere I went, I would just take her with me. And yeah, I think I've been more of a bigger fan of Lilo versus Stitch. I was the Lilo fan. Yeah.
Did you ever have like that Scruff doll or Scrump or whatever it's called?
Yes, she had a little duffel bag. It was her little green duffel bag, and she had her swimsuit. I loved her swimsuit. I never really liked her dress, so I just kept her in the swimsuit all the time. And then she had Scrum in her bag as well, and I loved the doll. That was my favorite.
Yeah. I saw it in the theater when it came out, the animated version, and I was really into it from the get-go. And then a year later, because when you're in second grade or whatever, a year feels like forever. Yeah. But like when they put out that direct-to-video sequel, Stitch the movie, and then that led to the TV show, and there were a couple other animated movies, I was like all in. I was like super into it, but I thought it was cool seeing all the different experiments. It's like, oh, he wasn't the only one. That's why it's 626. But the fact that you guys really latched onto that original animated movie, like without needing to watch the other animated stuff that came after, I guess it's really a testament to just how great that first movie is, right?
I'd say so. One, I did forget about the animated series. To be fair, I totally forgot those even were a thing. But now that I do remember them, the one that made sandwiches.
Oh, yeah, 625.
Yeah, amazing. Best one, I think. I love food. So, then there's an attachment to that experiment. But yeah, no, I think it was just like a classic. I think it was well done, and I don't think that, no harsh comments towards the newer ones made, but I don't think that any remakes were needed.
Right.
I think they should have, when you reach perfection, why try to change that?
Yeah, did either of you ever play like the sandwich stacker game that was like on the Disney Channel website back in the day?
Yes, I played it a lot when I was in my computer class, elementary school. Was I supposed to? No. But yeah, I remember playing it, and they'll come check on me, and I immediately switched back to whatever project we were supposed to be working on. But I think now, and even before, they were always able to monitor your computer anyways. So I think they knew. But they wanted to catch you playing it, and they'd be like, hey, don't play that. But yeah, I remember playing it and then just making sandwiches with the 625 one. Was it him?
Yeah, he eventually got named Ruben and like the
Ruben,
Leroy and Stitch.
That's
yeah,
Leroy.
Yeah.
I remember the whole sandwich making aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And there were like a couple anime shows like overseas, which I've seen a little bit of, but I kind of like didn't know about them till like way after the fact. And they feel like kind of different from like the other stuff. They almost feel like their own universe. And I think I gave you, Jesus, a book that had like, it was like a Stitch manga or something. Yes. Like within the past year.
Yeah. Oh, was that? I believe they gave that to me for my birthday.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah. And like the whole merchandising aspect. I mean, just now I came back from a store. I came from Marshall's, and I was in line, and someone in front of me like looked at a mug that said Stitchmas and almost got it. So like you got that, you got the like shoes, the backpacks, whatever. Like Stitch is just super marketable, I guess, and I guess like it's considered like more visually popular than Lilo, which is kind of unfair because Lilo is like, she really balances the whole duo out, I think.
Yeah, I would agree about the whole, what do you call it, like the merchandises that they have out there, because even before this live action that recently came out, I feel like it was just always, it was always around.
More now, I don't, the funny thing is I don't recall it very much growing up. Like the merch, I don't really recall seeing Stitch items around. Really, I know like Hello Kitty and everything that was all over, but I think it just started popping up in like the past few years. No?
Yeah, I've noticed it more the last few years.
Yeah. So I wonder what
how it came back into
what sparked
play.
it.
Yeah, especially when we had like a bunch of years where the franchise was kind of dormant. Like not really putting out new content. So,
exactly.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. So going into this live action remake, what'd you think overall of how the live action versions of the characters look?
It was tough. It was just because you watched the animated version so many times, when you're looking at the live action, it's like, oh, that looks nothing like Lilo. Like Stitch sometimes too, I'm just like, it doesn't really look like the sister. Just even, what's his name? The detective guy?
Oh, Cobra.
Yeah,
Cobra.
I think that
Bubbles.
was a big one where, both. I think that was the big one where I was like, okay, they could have gone with someone. Well, because I'm used to the animated where he's just big and buff and everything. But yeah, to me it was kind of tough to get around the fact that they didn't look like the animated version.
Right, because with the aliens, you got like CGI instead of the 2D animated. The colors aren't as vibrant as in animation, you know, similar to how like in The Lion King you have all these awesome like orange and red colors, but then you watch the like photorealistic Lion King and it's like, where'd all the color go? What the hell?
I also feel like with the new one, the dynamic with, Cobra Bubbles was a huge loss, but I don't know, I think maybe they should have just prefaced it with like, do not come with expectations of, like this is a reset of Lilo and Stitch. So like based on the original, but don't come with the expectation that it's going to be the original. Because I think that's what happened. It was like a lot of people were going in with the mindset of that. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, because I saw it so late in the game, it was really helpful to hear that everybody was like, this isn't what I thought. So then when I went in, I was like, okay, I went in with the expectation that it wasn't going to be the same. And it actually wasn't bad. Yeah. I'll be honest. It wasn't bad. I did enjoy it. I did like how it turned out when I had no expectations. But if I did have the expectations of it to be like my childhood nostalgic classic, yeah, I probably would have felt the same. But yeah, no, and then with these new characters, like, again, I will say the one thing that I did miss, though, is with, what's their names? The ones that try to get Stitch from the alien planet.
The creator.
No, the creator, and then...
Yeah, Jumba and Pleakley.
So with Jumba and Pleakley, I feel like in the new one, if they didn't add the accents, either they should have stuck with the original voice casting, like those individuals, or they shouldn't have added the accents with these new characters, because the accents are they throw me off a little bit, because you can tell it doesn't suit the actors playing them or their characters. Like the accent feels forced, and so the jokes don't land as well because it's feeling not genuine. There's no flow. It just feels like they're trying too hard to sell the character. And therefore, I'm not buying the character,
Yeah. So, like, over here in the delayed replay universe, they are trying, like, the Jumba accent. Over there in that other universe where it got delayed, Zach Galifianakis just sounds like Zach Galifianakis as Jumba, and it's, like, super weird. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation, whichever universe you're in. There are some divergences in, like, the version we got over here, and potentially, like, some, I guess, mixed thoughts as well. I guess we'll hear your thoughts on this, but we begin with the trial of Stitch, kind of how we're used to it. But then when he escapes and he, like, lands on Earth, like, we have the characters in Hawaii, Lilo and company, but when he falls to Earth, he unexpectedly, like, he lands in Switzerland, and it's like, wait, what? Stitch is landing in Switzerland in this version? What's going on here? So what was your guys' reaction to that?
I apologize for any background noise from my personal Stitch dog. Does not know when to stay in his corner. No, I think that I think that was a really nice touch. I feel like Switzerland's never touched in films. It's always Russia or China or England or America, and like Hawaii, of course. So I think it was time to change some vibes. So I think like nothing's ever set in Switzerland. All the criminals are just escaping to Switzerland. So that makes sense. Because he's a criminal. He's an alien criminal.
Yeah. Which I think that's what the director meant to do on purpose, actually.
Yeah. Wow, I never even connected that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, and of course we get Jumba and Pleakley looking for him, and thankfully in our universe, because it came out like last year before there were certain things to worry about, we were actually able to get Pleakley in drag, like where supposed to get like in the animated version. So I quite appreciated that. What did you think of Pleakley's outfits?
I feel that they could have been more tastefully done. I feel like having studied humans for so long, Pleakley definitely would have had way better taste. But I get it. It was for the humor. I get it. It was for the humor and just the exaggeration of the look. But no, I overall I think it was fun, and that did match the aesthetic of the original movie.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we do cut back and forth. Like, we get to see what Lilo is up to in Hawaii. Like, we see, like, her struggling to fit in school. Like, how'd you feel about how they presented, like, her dynamic with the classmates and her sister in this version?
I, for one, am a bit upset because my favorite scene from the animated version is when she shows up to the dance recital and she fights the other little girl.
Oh, Myrtle.
And so she attacks her because it's like whenever we're like having a little, not really like a dispute, but like kind of just going back and forth through text messages and I'm disagreeing with her, I'll send her that gift. So I was upset that didn't have that in the live action. But overall, I think it was completely different only because I think even when they steal the little Jeep from them, you see them go like on a full-on cruise on this Jeep, and it was just completely different than what we were used to, and I think it was a great little touch.
Yeah. And in this version, like, Lilo is also like, she hears how into sushi some of the people around her are because it's like trendy and stuff, but of course she like loves fish, and so like she's not all about the sushi. What'd you think of this whole like touching on sushi bit of the movie?
Now you mentioned because she's all about the fish. I think it was tough for them to even get that story going together. Because how do you create something where everyone in Switzerland is eating nothing but sushi, but it's something that you're not, frowned upon. So I could just imagine the difficulty they had in working with that.
Maybe the director was trying to prove a point of like, how they turned they made paper straws to save the turtles. Mm-hmm. And there's been a movement about like the unhealthy conditions we have animals in and how it leaks into our products and our food diets and everything. So maybe he's like trying to show for everybody to make a stand no matter how hard it is. Even though everybody else is having sushi doesn't mean that you should. And like you see the value in animals,
Yeah.
Granted, I don't know the director personally, but...
Yeah. So you mentioned that like Lilo and Nani like go to Switzerland. Like, it's kind of weird in this version because they are visited by Cobra Bubbles and like the officials and whatever to like get a grade on like if she's like doing her parenting well, and it's like it's tough. Like, it kind of they kind of struggle, and so Nani is like, I need to take Lilo on a trip somewhere where we can get away from all this for a bit. And so they like spin a globe and just like point, and it just lands on Switzerland. And so they fly there, and I kind of had to suspend my disbelief here. Like, I don't know how child protective whatever works, but it's like, are they allowed to go there while all this stuff is happening? Like, like, I don't know. How did you guys feel about all that?
I mean, I do see how... Okay, we justified earlier that Stitch obviously was sent to Switzerland because he's a criminal. And that's where criminals go to escape with their millions and millions of dollars.
It's like Nani's trying to escape with her sister.
Yeah, so like, exactly. So I'm thinking like, is Lilo the millions of dollars to Nani, and hence why they're going to Switzerland, because they can't touch them in Switzerland because it's Switzerland. So once they're there, it's like it's a safety net because they were trying to take Lilo away. I think that's the only way that I can justify it. I mean, I know in this version, like, Nani was going to school, and I feel like just because they are from, do live in Hawaii, or they're native Hawaiians, like, I don't know, do they aspire? I mean, maybe, because, everybody's desiring to go to Hawaii, so maybe to the Hawaiians, Switzerland is like their Hawaii. And so it's like the land of dreams. And maybe that's where Lilo always wanted to go, or their family had always dreamed on going. And then their parents passed away. And she was like, this is it. This is my opportunity. And, you know, there's no rules in Switzerland. So, like, I've never been. I don't know. Sorry if there's any Swiss people listening. That's not what I meant. But yeah, that's the justification that I can give it. It's a little off, but I think that maybe Switzerland is the Hawaii for Hawaiians. So that's why they chose to go. Even though, I mean, it was a random pinpoint, but I feel like, you know, for viewers anyway.
Yeah, I think something that I really appreciate that they included here that they cut out from the animated version, and you can kind of see in like deleted scenes or whatever, is how there are tourists in Hawaii who will like talk down to like some of the Hawaiian people there. And yeah, I really appreciate that they included that to show that there is such a divide, and like tourists aren't like always doing the best thing by just overrunning Hawaii. And yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think of that aspect?
Yeah, I think that's important. I feel like how funny, because I've been seeing a lot of reels on Instagram, and they're talking about how they're showing these beautiful places with these clear waters, but some of these places, like, they have very strict rules. Like, you're not even allowed to wear sunscreen in these rivers because they're preserving the clarity of the water and like the life underneath. And I just feel like whenever we go to visit something beautiful, like, we don't respect where we're at, the sacredness of it all, and to preserve it, to keep it beautiful for years to come. We just think like, oh, look, a cool photo, you know, let me get in for the pictures. And then, you know, you're satisfied with what you have, and then you just gradually tarnish it for the next visitors or the next generation. And again, I think it's like with the sushi. We're just pinpointing like how convenience just... we live for convenience, and that's what happened with previous generations. That's why we have so much pollution now. That's why we have where our finances are crazy, why everyone's in debt, why everyone thinks they need a college degree and are going hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, why nobody can afford a home, nobody can afford an apartment, because the generation before us lived for themselves. And that's very tough, because this generation, we're promoting ourselves to live for ourselves. Live your life, set your boundaries, choose you first, you know? But I think maybe that was taken out of context in the past. I feel like maybe in the past they were like, yeah, we're going to live for ourselves, that's for sure. So corporations live for sure for themselves and made everything benefit them to this day, and, you know, kind of screwed over the rest of us. I think, you know, I think it's just a reminder of like, we can choose to live for ourselves and everything, but we still need to respect what's going on around us, respect the world around us, respect the people around us. And if we can do that, then maybe we can grasp like a chance at a proper civilization again, and make this, try to salvage what we can on this planet. And I just feel like also with like Native Hawaiians and stuff, like how everything that they do is in touch with their island and nature, and being grateful for what's around them, and thanking, I know like gods and things like that. I don't know what their history was with that, but thanking the gods for what they have. And same with like Native Americans, like they're very similar with that. Like they would use, if they killed like an animal, they made sure to use every part of the animal. They didn't waste it because they saw it as a gift, like a sacrifice from the earth and things like that. And I feel like we're just such consumers that we don't appreciate what we have anymore, see the value in it. We just want, and like stuff our faces. And then we're just like, oh, we hurt because we're so full. But it's just like, we just forget to appreciate what's around us and respect what's around us. You know?
Yeah, like you mentioned all the consumerism, which makes it all the more ironic that we get all this Stitch merchandise.
Oh gosh, yes. We're contributing to the problem.
They knew what they were doing.
But yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe that whole like, oh, Hawaii's not what it used to be because of all this tourism. I kind of wonder if maybe that's also part of why Nani decided to run in this version, which was tough because here, you know, there's David and they have like feelings for each other, but like I kind of feel like they lean into it more here, like that relationship. Like it's not just for laughs or whatever. I mean, in the other stuff, it kind of feels like it's for laughs. Like he'll always say, hey, let's go on a day, and she'll always be like busy. There's definitely subtext there that like her life is so hectic. But what did you guys think of how they handled the Nani and David relationship?
I think, yeah, as I think back to the cartoon, I feel like it was just like David would laugh and he'd be like, oh, your sister talks about me, and this is not like, oh, okay, and then how he was saying like, oh, I really thought that they had a chance until now, like when he was helping her get a job, and then Stitch kind of ruined everything.
Oh yeah, I always hated that part of the original version. Like, it made him seem so mean to Stitch. Like, I really thought they had a chance until you came along.
Yes,
it's
and also,
like, what the hell, David?
No, exactly. And also, it's like Stitch is kind of new to the team, and he was the cherry on top. To be the cherry on top, there had to have been problems before, long before he came around. So yeah, that was definitely taken. Like, but I think in this new one, I think it's a little more realistic because it does show that like they had something at one point and they were gonna pursue it. It's implied in their conversations. In the animated version, it was just kind of hinted at, like he's always liked her, but she's kind of been like, she kind of has known, but she's never really let anything into it. And then even then at the end, it shows them going on trips together. So then it's just like, oh, I guess they did get together, but nothing was really highlighted on it. But here, I believe they had like a conversation and she was just like, hey, like, I have a lot going on right now. And it just goes to show that they probably did have something at one point, or it was like a budding relationship. But because of what happened with the parents and having to take care of her sister, that she had to reprioritize. So I just liked the fact that even though it wasn't like the sweep me off my feet romance that maybe we were hoping for with David and Nani, it was very realistic. And so I think that just kind of provided like a balance, and it gave you the validation at the same time that like, obviously, yes, there is something going on between them. They did have something and it's pretty solid, but he respects her enough and her situation enough to give her the space that she needs, but still offer that support. Which is what healthy green flag men should do.
Right. Yeah, there are a bunch of Disney movies where they do try to do the sweep you off your feet romance. But here, like, yeah, they still kind of keep it down to earth. And you can tell, though, that, like, the distance between them because of the Switzerland trip is really, like, taking a toll on both of them. What'd you guys think of the inclusion of flashbacks to the parents and what happened to them?
Okay, so I watched Cold Case, and and it's a pretty quality show if you guys like history and time period things.
Okay.
So
I was not expecting this, but okay.
I love seeing like how people looked in the past and things that happened in the past and how they look now. That's always fascinated me. And whenever I'm on Wikipedia, I definitely go down the rabbit hole of just seeing like, okay, and who's your parents? And then what did your parents do? And then how did that affect? What was your relationship like? Oh, and then who was this cousin? And like, I just go down the rabbit hole. So you would think I would like flashbacks, because it's like part of the past. I get to see that and then see the future. And I'm like, oh no, they don't know what's going to happen. Like, oh no. Right. But I don't know. I didn't like it. It was weird. I think maybe because I built this idea of their parents in my head. And then when I saw it, it was still like really nice to see, but it just wasn't what I had pictured. It's kind of like when you read a book first before seeing the movie.
Right.
So you have an idea of how these characters are going to look, how they're going to be, and their perfection in your mind. And then you see it in the movies and you're just like, ew. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I think that's just kind of what it was for me. Not that I did disliked it, but I was just kind of like, meh. Meh. Oh, all right, I guess, yeah. I think it was you can't give a little and then expect, like, leave me hanging, I guess. I think it's just, it wasn't enough. I think at this point, if you're going to flashback the parents, screw it, just do a miniseries. Make me build a relationship with the parents, let's see the before. You know how they do those TV shows and then they go 6 years earlier or 6 months earlier and you see what happens to them and like what leads up to that tragic event. I feel like we should have done that at that point. Like season 1 would be leading up to the parents' death. And so you would get to know the parents and build that relationship with the parents. And then by the time the end comes, even though you knew it was coming, you're just like, oh God, why? No, my heart, I can't watch season 2. I can't do it. And then you watch season 2 and then you're like, oh no, it's Lilo Stitch. Like, so I think maybe it just wasn't enough for me. I think that we got a nice little glimpse and we got to see the kind of dynamic that they had. And that was actually really nice to see. But I also think like, oh, you can't just give me a little bit and then expect me to be satisfied. Like you can't give me a little teaspoon of ice cream, but then I know that there's potential for a whole bowl of ice cream for me to eat and you just gave me a teaspoon.
Yeah, but you know why they wouldn't have made a one season series of like when the family was together, right? Because Stitch wouldn't have been in it. Because it would be before they got Stitch, and he's so merchandisable.
They could call it, they could just call the first season Lilo. And then season 2, Lilo and Stitch.
Or like Lilo.
Season 2.
Or like Lilo before Stitch. Or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Or it could be...
Nani.
They should have named it Lilo meets Stitch and just done a whole movie of what's that? Harry meets Lloyd.
Or they could have just called season 1 Ohana.
Or wait, were you thinking of When Harry Meets Sally? Or
Harry meets Sally.
Yeah, when
I was
Harry
like,
meets
who's Lloyd?
Lloyd?
Yeah, no.
When I said
well,
Lloyd,
in this universe.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. When Harry Met Lloyd is Dumb and Dumber. Is the Dumb and Dumber prequel?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
You would say that.
Yeah,
it'd be funny.
But
they go and buy these suits together, and...
or they could even like call it Lilo and Stitch, but you would like they'd be, you know, we would see Lilo and her family on Earth. I mean, while Stitch is like, you know, before he's discovered by the council or whatever, he's like doing jobs for Pleakley or for Jumpa in space. Like, maybe that could have worked, but yeah, I guess.
Wait.
Maybe like some instances where, yeah, like he was doing some jobs for.
Yeah.
And passed by Earth, you know, questioned it, but never really got to it until they sent him there.
Okay, so if we made this show, right, obviously it's after the animated movie, so we know that they're gonna become Lilo and Stitch. You know what I mean? But then they do you know how you do in books and novels? You have like one chapter with one character, the other chapter with the other character?
No, yeah, I write novels, yeah.
Yeah, you can read? Okay, something like, you could just do the back. You could do the back and forth, and then, you know, when they finally meet each other, and then you're just like, what's happening? They're meeting, you know, and then it's like, here they are. Yeah.
Their life before they met each other.
Yep. Yep.
I don't recall too much, but in the animated, do they explain what happened to the parents?
So, I'm not sure that they say explicitly what happened to them. I think for me, I always just default to thinking, oh, car crash.
Mm-hmm.
But that I've seen this fan theory that like, and it seems like this movie kind of hints at that fan theory that maybe it was like a flood or something, and like there's something like it's like connected to like the idea that like Lilo it was like a rainy day, and it was the one day that Lilo did not bring a sandwich to the fish or the tuna or whatever, and so the idea is that the one day that she didn't do that is when the parents died, and so that's why she's so adamant about continuing to feed the fish, because then otherwise something bad might happen.
Yeah, I was on Tumblr and I saw this theory.
Jeez, I forgot.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's where it originated.
Yeah, and I saw a similar fan theory, and whoever wrote that, I've been looking for it forever. I can't find it, but it was amazing. I don't even think I can describe the detail, but it was just so in depth, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm living for this. This makes sense. And it was talking about like Nani and the way she chooses to raise Lilo, and the reason that she lets Lilo take all these pictures and everything is because that's how Lilo Lilo doesn't know how to like express herself or like vocalize her pain or anything like that, and so the way that she's able, her healthy outlet is by photography. So Nani like supports this and lets her take as many pictures as she wants of whatever she wants, and because she knows, like, I think she doesn't want Lilo to feel guilty like when she loses her job, and that's why she tells him like, oh, he's from the undead and this and that, because you know Lilo has enough on her plate and she's too young to really understand that, and she already feels guilty about feeding the peanut butter sandwich to the fish and the parents, and so like Nani takes that burden on, and like the reason, then they were talking about how like the reason why if Lilo was taken by social services and then given to a foster family, like they wouldn't understand her the way that Nani does, because like, and they showed all these little ways that Nani handles situations, and it's for the betterment of Lilo, like her emotional well-being at least. But no, they did say that it was due to a storm. Theory as well, this extended theory that it was for Nani. Like, I guess Nani used to hula, or Nani used to do something. Oh, the surfing. Like, maybe she used to be in a competition and stuff, and like she doesn't surf anymore.
That would have been how she met David. Yeah.
Yeah, like she was a surfer and competed, and they were trying to like make it to like a competition or like pick her up or something related to the surfing. And it was during the storm, and they were driving to get her, and that's when they got in the accident. And so she felt like it was her fault. So Lilo thought it was her fault because of the fish. Nani thought it was her fault because they were coming to her for the competition. So she gave up surfing since then. And then, she took care of Lilo. And then she lets Lilo express herself in all these ways. And it's just like, oh my God.
Because when I think about it, like the first thing that comes to mind is like, yeah, they're on a boat going somewhere, and then boom, a storm hits. But I don't know if that's me just trying to connect them with another Disney movie that has a similar aspect to that.
Like how they're trying to connect Little Mermaid and Frozen and all.
Or Tarzan and Frozen.
Yeah.
So I think like that was when I think about the parents, that's my first go-to. Like, oh, they were on a boat, and then boom, like all of a sudden a couple of summers go by and it's just them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So getting back to Stitch, he's...
That's right.
Yeah. He's wreaking havoc in Switzerland. He's tearing stuff up. But then at some point he ends up in this facility where he is like... There's this shampoo assistant who is like testing different products on him. And it's like... It kind of seems like the products kind of mellow him out a little bit. How do you guys feel about this little addition to the lore in this version?
You know what's so funny is when in the animated version, when Lilo puts the lei on Stitch and he calms down because he's just in shock, and so he doesn't know what to do when he was tearing up her room, and then he calms down when she puts the lei on him. I tried that same thing on my brother. I had the one with the nuts, I don't know what those are called, but the male lei. And so I had that, and he was just crying nonstop, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I saw the lei, and I was like, and I did it, and it worked for about like 5 minutes, and then he started crying again. But the point is that it worked. It was that shock effect.
For me, it did catch my attention because I was like, ooh, this shampoo is mellowing him out. Now, is this something they're gonna create for those that have pets? Because maybe we have pets, and they tend to be very excited, very aggressive sometimes, and we need some shampoo to mellow them out. Yeah. So I had interesting feelings about that, because then I started thinking, what if I create that?
Yeah, I feel like maybe I was like, maybe it's more symbolic, like it's more about how he was never showed like pampering, and like soothing and like in a way affection. Yeah. I mean, I know it's just a treatment, right? But I mean, hey, when I'm in those chairs, I'm like, woof. Like, you can massage my head all day. You could go ahead and wash my hair all day. But yeah, I just feel like he was an experiment. He had no family, no connection, no experience with love or anything like that. And then when you get these simple acts of like cuddling and touch and tenderness, I think that was... It just makes sense why he'd be soothed. It's like the same effect that like puppies have on people,
Yeah. And he also gets really into Swiss cheese. So I guess the moral is that Switzerland is a pretty calming place or something. I mean, I've never been, but it's kind of funny how this plays out, I guess.
Switzerland is neutrality.
That's why all the criminals go there.
For peace.
For peace. To start a new life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like, Jumba and Pleakley, they still continue to try catching Stitch, but are always, like, messing up and, like, fall. It's the slapstick humor, which is very on brand. And so, from what I understand, in that other universe, the live-action movie does not have Gantu, but over here, like, we do have him in the movie. I suspect that maybe, like, the suit or whatever that they used for him got caught in a fire or something in that other universe, so they couldn't use it. But here it's like they have him, and it's like this. It looks like CGI, but it's this huge suit actually, and it's like, whoa, like that's a practical effect. Like, what'd you guys think of Gantu in this?
And the fireproof.
It's like
suit?
Hagrid. He was in a suit. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until after the movies were made.
I thought it was a nice touch to it. You could see why in that other universe they didn't do that, only because like how do you portray that and
or like they didn't have the funds.
Oh yeah, the budget too.
Yeah.
To catch someone off
guard.
They cut corners or something.
Yeah, but I think in this universe, it was good to see him in that suit. It just made him like even more mean, more.
I mean, he's the main villain, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, and I think you got to invest in your villain if you want a greater hero.
Yeah,
he looked more terrifying.
Yeah, what's funny is in the original movie, it always seemed like, to me, like Jumbo was more of a villain most of the time, and then toward the end, we're like, okay, let's bring Gantu in, and he accidentally becomes the villain because he abducts. She alright?
She's having a nightmare.
Oh.
She's dreaming of Gantu.
In that suit. She's like, not him again.
Yeah, dog's dream of Gantu. So, yeah, like in the original movie, it's like he tries to do his job, but does it badly. Like he catches Stitch, but also catches Lilo in the process. But is like, Lilo will be a snack for Stitch. It's like, what the hell, man? And like that makes him deserving of becoming the villain for all the other Lilo and Stitch animated stuff that comes after. And here they really lean into the fact that, yeah, he's a cop, a space cop type of person. They even play the police song Every Breath You Take while he's like trying to catch Stitch. But yeah, like the practical effects, like I was really impressed with how menacing he looked and how real he looked. But yeah, I feel like they also leaned into Jumba being somewhat of a villain in this version, but that he might have redeemable qualities. Like, what'd you guys think of the scene where, like, he and Pleakley where Jumba and Pleakley kind of have a heart-to-heart?
I feel like, you know how they always say opposites attract, and they always use, like, these opposite characters to kind of bring something out in one another? Like, I feel like, Pleakley needs to get a backbone.
I mean, does he even have bones?
And then, no, right. And then, is it Jumba? He needs his humanity back, but I also feel like he always had it because I feel like you can't create something and not have that sense of, like, passion or fatherhood or connection to what you created, you know? And, like, that care for it, and I feel like in the movie, they try to make it seem like he doesn't care what happens to Stitch. But obviously in the animated, though, they do towards the end there. You know, how they have like a little back and forth and they build that relationship together. Mm-hmm. But I feel like sometimes these movie creators, like, they forget that. I think they forget because they're just too busy making the movie and needing to have a villain or needing to have some back and forth. They keep it really shallow surfaced. And then maybe to them it's because, like, oh, I only have an hour and 20 minutes to fit all this in here. But I feel like some movies do a really crafty way of putting these very powerful connections and statements and things into movies. So yeah, I think that heart-to-heart was to bring out the fact that he really isn't always a bad guy, but maybe life hardened him, you know? Just like Stitch. I mean, he didn't know that he didn't calm down until he had the shampooing. And I feel like with Jamba, it's the same thing, you know? He did have that growing up probably, but then life hardened him. Maybe nobody respected his inventions, and granted, I don't know his whole backstory. I know this is just like, but I just feel like, you know, in my mind, he probably did have all that. Nobody respected his inventions. Nobody believed in him, and they thought he was a waste of time, and so he just hardened himself. And yeah, Stitch and Pleakley helped kind of bring that back.
You know, I'm kind of realizing Lilo and, like, the whole Jumba and Stitch thing is kind of like a modern Frankenstein. Like, I've never, like...
Yes, that's the first thing I thought of when I was mentioning that. Because I was like, Frankenstein loved his creation, you know? And he tried, like, he didn't want Dracula to use it for evil. So, yeah.
Right.
That's a good comparison, right? Never thought of that.
Yeah. So there's a point in the movie where, you know, Stitch is, you know, he's more mellowed out and he's like kind of doing day-to-day tasks, you know, helping people out. And then he sees like Lilo and Nani somewhere and he notices how sad Lilo looks and it's interesting because we're so used to the idea that Lilo is the one who mellowed him out, but here they present this idea that Stitch could be mellowed out regardless of who he's with, and they will still end up together and like have their friendship. Well, what did you guys think of this?
Yeah, I think Stitch could have definitely been mellowed out without Lilo, and Lilo probably could have gotten her company and like, you know, healed her family relationship without Stitch. But I feel like it's kind of something along the lines of like, you know, when you don't need something in your life, but you want to have that something in your life. It's just like I don't know if you've seen, what's that movie with Jennifer Aniston? Rumor Has It. So anyways, she does some stuff and her, you know, she kind of breaks her fiance's heart, and she goes up to him and she says something, and she's like, I didn't come here to say that I needed you in my life. I can live without you. I don't need you. But the point is, like, I want you in my life. I want you in my life. And it's funny because I actually was talking to my friend about this recently, and she said that I feel like wanting someone in your life versus needing them is way more powerful. Because needing someone in your life, you know, you think, I can't live without you, I need you. No, they need you to survive. So they don't want you. You're a necessity, because without you, they won't be able to get through everyday life, right? Like you're maybe like a financial support. And so without you, they're going to be homeless. So they need you, right? But then picture someone who has everything they could ever want, but they want you. They want you in their life. So I kind of think that's what's going on here with Lilo and Stitch is like, yeah, I don't think any of them needs each other, but they want each other in your life, you know? That went a whole romantic weird turn, though. Like this is for.
Whoa! I wasn't interpreting it that way.
Sorry. I think maybe because of where I heard it from, it was a romantic movie. But yeah, friendship wise, though, I just feel like anybody can get through anything. They'll figure it out. A Stitch could have figured it out on his own, and Lilo, after much and much intense therapy growing up, she could have figured it out on her own. But I think it's always nice to have someone in your corner. So, yeah. Again, they could have had it do it on their own. In a lot of movies, probably someone could have done it on their own, but I think it's just emphasizing the importance that connection is needed between people or for people. I think everybody needs connection.
Yeah, because without that connection, I feel like the movie wouldn't really have much of a touch to it. Because they both help each other out in a certain way. A movie without that, it's like, when I think about it now, like, what would I even be watching? What would the movie be about if they're not really helping each other? Like, her mellowing him out and vice versa. It would be just a movie of them being friends, but really, what would be the plot? Like, what could they have done with it?
Right.
It's like Nicole Kidman in the AMC theater intro. Have you seen the AMC movie theater intro?
Oh my god, I hate that intro.
Where she's wearing the silver suit, you know? And then she's like, here, blah, 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 blah. It means something.
I get so tired of seeing
matters.
that.
And I feel like that's true. These movies are selling the experience and they're selling the emotion, you know? But yeah, that's what it reminded me of right now. I don't really remember what she says, but all I know is she goes like, it matters. It means, here it means something.
Yeah. So it's not really until this chase happens that they start really helping each other. You know, when Gantu is going after them, and you know, Jumba and Pleakley are also in the mix, and you got all these like spaceships and stuff, and they end up like flying, you know, back to Hawaii, which thank goodness, like there was a lack of Hawaii for a good chunk of this movie. It was like ridiculous. But yeah, what did you guys think of this whole chase?
I don't know. I feel like at the same time, I also am glad that I ended up back in Hawaii, only because when it came to them using the word Ohana and then being in Switzerland, it just didn't make sense.
What's the word for Ohana in Swiss?
Let's look it up.
Right.
I guess it's family, but ending with an IE or something.
How do they pronounce like Famalai? Famalai.
But that means it has the word lie in it. I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I prefer...
Well, technically, families has Family lies.
I prefer family ending with ILY because that could stand for I love you, you know?
Oh, that's cute. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, you're always thinking of yourself, Tony.
Selfish.
But with the chase,
I'm the Gantu in this story.
with the chase ending in Hawaii, I feel like maybe they could have just gone the route of just keeping the whole movie in Hawaii.
Mm.
Yeah, keep it in Hawaii or keep it in
Hawaii.
Switzerland. Make up your mind.
Yeah, because it feels like they were trying to at least do something different, but...
You know what, Steven? But home is where the heart is. And home is Hawaii. And you gotta go back to the past to face your present and go into your future. The accident of their parents was in the past. They were running away from that. All their troubles are back in Hawaii. You gotta face your demons. You can't keep running away.
I thought you were quoting something.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, it
I was
sounded
like,
like
where
it.
is this from?
I'm just that good. They should have hired me for this script.
No, yeah, for real. But, yeah, so they do this whole spectacle ending in Hawaii. They accidentally activate a volcano, which I don't know if that was really necessary.
It was. It's called the climax.
Yeah,
I think it was just another symbol showing that
It was directed by Michael Bay.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was just another symbol that no matter where they go, they're just bringing chaos.
Yeah.
And having to fix it.
But, yeah, what did you think of the way that they concluded the movie with all these pieces, like, coming together?
I feel like they were just trying to fit a lot of ideas into one, you know, with like the animal rights activism with the sushi, and then the self-soothing with the shampooing, and healing your own trauma, coming back to your roots, but coming back to Hawaii and facing your demons. I think we were trying to tackle a lot of life lessons in one movie, which would have been great in a mini-series. Each episode a life lesson, just saying.
They probably could have also just made the runtime a little bit longer. And
Like Harry
expanded
Potter,
on
3 hours? Or Lord of the Rings,
it.
3.5. Intermission.
Intermission. Or do Lilo and Stitch, and then a year later, Lilo and Stitch for good.
Yes! Good, not great.
But, yeah, in the end, it feels like they kind of end it sort of the same way that the animated one ends. You know, the councilwoman comes and, like, you know, talks with Cobra Bubbles, and the family is able to stay together, and then Jumbo and Pleakley are, like, pretty much banished there along with Stitch now. Gantu, you can tell that Gantu is gonna face consequences, but I think there's at least a little glimmer that he may have learned a lesson and that he just needs to do better, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel like they're probably going to make a sequel. Villains are made, not born. But no, I feel like they have to keep him a villain without any character development, or they focus too much on all these other lessons, and that's why there was no character development there. Like, they just didn't have enough time, or they did, and they just cut off a lot from the script, because that tends to happen a lot. Like, when they have to cut running time, or they don't have enough money to continue filming, so they have to cut off so much from the script. And I think that's maybe what happened, because there's so many, like, deep lessons that they're trying to cram into this movie, and I feel like maybe it was really well written at first, but then as they were filming, they were like, okay, we don't have enough budget to continue filming and continue with these life lessons, so we have to cut it short. Because then that's where probably Gantu's character development would have come in play, is like maybe in like an extended ending, you know, director's cut or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really just think that's maybe what it was, just underfunded or too ambitious for the funding that was provided. And yeah, because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't tie in with the rest of the movie.
I'm just hoping with the success that this movie had is that they do make the sequel and they kind of play it off as in The Winter Soldier in Civil War, where he goes and gets Stitch but brings him back to his 626, and the whole movie is about
He's
them.
alive!
Oh, yeah.
And the whole movie is about them trying to get Stitch back to being Stitch. The Ohana version.
Yeah, they could do that. And it really feels like they do want to set something up, because in the mid-credit scene, we get that brief glimpse of Angel, the pink Stitch, which, I mean, I know you guys, didn't watch the series, or maybe didn't watch a whole lot of it, but it's so fascinating how merchandised Angel is, despite not being in that original movie. So you have lots of people who, maybe don't know much about her, and are like, oh, it's Stitch, but it's the pink version, type of thing.
He's got himself a girlfriend.
And she's his cousin.
I'm like, where's the director from?
In some states, they'll allow that.
And we also get a post-credit scene where it's the ice cream tourist. He looks just like how he does in the animated version, and he finally gets to eat the ice cream. And I gotta admit, I kind of teared up because in the animated versions, he never got to eat the ice cream.
Yeah.
I think it had a nice touch too that it was Lilo and Stitch that bought him the ice cream as well.
Yeah. It was a little act of kindness, but yeah, they're able to stay together, and Nani goes to school nearby in Hawaii, and Jumbo and Quickly help out. So overall, and was there anything else you guys want to mention before we go into final thoughts and scores?
No.
I don't think with this one, even though it didn't have the nostalgia that the animated version had, the live action, my heartstrings got more emotionally tugged with the live action. And I don't know if that's because it's a live action, or if it's because the way it was written, because I feel with have I cried at an animated movie?
I think it's a bit of both, because you see these humans that are going through these emotions, as in the animated is just it's just a cartoon, so to say.
Yeah, I like that they used animatronics. I thought that was cool.
That's all I could think. I thought the animated version was perfection, but I actually felt tearing up and crying with the live action, even though I wasn't as happy with it as the animated, so I just thought that was strange.
Alright, so what are your final thoughts and score out of 10 for this live action Lilo and Stitch, and what's your unit of measurement for that score? So for example, instead of I don't know, 6 out of 10 stars, it could be, instead of stars, it could be an object related to the movie.
Okay. I'll go with ice cream cones. Mint chip ice cream cones, that's my rating. And I'll go 1 to 5. 5 is obviously the highest, the max. That means really amazing, perfection. And then 1 is or anything below 1, half a cone is Okay, if I'm rating it based on overall, if I'm rating it overall based on the animated, I'll give it 3.5 cones, 4 cones. I'll be generous. I'll give it 4 cones. I'll be nice.
Even though it almost made you cry?
Because it made me cry, I'm giving it that extra half a cone. But I think if you do it in its own separate types, I'll give it 4.5 cones. 4 and 75th of a cone. I can't do the math. 4 and 3/4 cones. Yeah. And I think if they had the funding for an extension where they could actually dive deeper into things, I would have given it the full 5 chip cones.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think that's 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, if you double it.
They pass. They got an A in my class.
I'll go ahead and say it was a great movie overall. It was nice seeing the differences that they threw out between this one and the animated version. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 sandwiches.
You're such a copycat.
You said 4.5. No, sorry, you said 3.5 and then jumped up to 4.5.
Yeah, but what's your rating based on? I explained mine. Mine is if you did the separation or if you did it together. I did both.
Mine is the overall. Mine's the overall rating is a 4 out of 5, and that's only because in this one they didn't recreate the scene where Lilo got in a fight. Which is
Oh,
my favorite
my
part
goodness.
of the.
You just want to see
animated
kids
version.
fight each other.
Yeah. Sir, you have problems.
Yeah, so I thought this was better than some other remakes I've seen. Like, you know, for a live action version, that there were some things that they did surprisingly well, but also some things they could have done better. So I think I would give this one like, what do I want to give it? Like 7.5 out of 10 Swiss cheeses, which out of 5 is like I don't know, divide. I can't math right now.
I think they got a C+.
345.
Yeah. Yeah, like here in the US, that's a C.
Yeah, they got a C. Passing grade.
So, yeah, I guess that'll do it. Thanks for joining me for this episode, Toni and Jesus. You want to tell people again about the baking page?
Yes. As Chef Tony Bear. Feel free to give me a like and a follow. We got cinnamon rolls, cakes, cake pops, cookies, you name it. You know what? I didn't have the skill set at the time. We threw my husband earlier last year, right? Last year?
Last year,
We had a
yeah.
Lilo and Stitch party. It was phenomenal.
It was amazing. She had Stitch show up.
It was the dogs. But yeah, I was thinking about reincorporating that like into the treats this year. Now that we're a little more extensive in our skill sets out here, I think that'd be really fun to do this summer. Is like a Lilo and Stitch themed sale. So if y'all have any ideas, feel free to shout out. Let Steven know. He'll pass the word on, and we'll go ahead and make that come true. But yeah, other than that, thank you for having us, Ohana.
Thank you. Yeah. No. Family. What was it in Swiss? Family. That's what Vin Diesel's going to say in the next Fast and Furious.
Oh my gosh.
Family.
Alright, so that'll do it, and without further delay, have a good day.
We forgot to mention the Queen song Don't Stop Me Now played during the chase toward the end. It was quite fun. Alright, so go check out that page and follow to stay in the loop about when those bake sales happen. They've typically been on Mondays, but they recently, this week, tried a Thursday one, and it went pretty well. It was Grinch themed, so they showed both the live action and 3D animated Grinch movies, which I think I'd rate on the same level personally. I like 7s-ish. Have nostalgia for the 2001 because that's the one that I grew up with, but I am of the mind that it would be a better film if some of the adult humor and toilet humor were removed. And the 3D anime one, I appreciate the stuff it says about social anxiety, and, you know, Grinch being friendlier to his dog overall compared to the 2001. But Cindy is kind of annoying in that version. But anyway, I do appreciate how different it is from the other one. And anyways, yeah, the bake sale was fun. There were green Grinch-themed cookies. It was really good. So follow that page. And you can email this podcast via delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on experiments. Do you have a favorite? And you can also find me on the podcast Yes Shift, which I do with my dad. We had a couple other great interviews this week with Trey Gunn. You may know him from King Crimson. And the Gottlieb brothers who've done photography and tour books and stuff for the band Yes. There's more stuff to come. My dad even interviewed people like Nick DiVirgilio, drummer of Big Big Train, and who's toured with Steve Hackett. So, yeah, I talked with him over at Drum Talk TV, so check that out, as well as drumtalktvbrilliance.com. Find my socials in the show notes, and stevenshinder.com for info on my standalones at Stepping Stones novels. Letterboxd, Goodreads. Check out my reviews of the Stitch manga and the Lilo and Stitch Greg Pak comic series over on Goodreads. So I guess that's it for now, and without further delay, here's my other self with updates on what he's been up to. Hey everyone, so kind of circling back to the SpongeBob topic of last week, I got around to trying Burger King's Bikini Bottom bundle, which includes a Krabby Patty, which is basically a Whopper, but they have this bun that looks more yellowish. There's probably more nuances to it than I'm remembering, but yeah, if you like Burger King, then you'll like the sandwich, that SpongeBob themed burger. But if you're looking for something that will be your mental image of what Krabby Patty is, then you might not be impressed. It's kind of just okay, just fine. As far as burgers go, it's not anything surprising. I think I may have liked it more than the Wendy's version ever so slightly. It could just be recency. I think it was Wendy's who did like the SpongeBob deal a while back, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think a year ago for the 25th anniversary of SpongeBob. Man, I thought it was longer than that. That collab happened, the Krabby Patty collab. But yeah, it also came with these cheese-filled tots, which were nice. This pink slice of ice cream cake, or ice cream cheesecake type thing. I'm forgetting like what this thing is. Just Google what this thing is. It's supposed to be reminiscent of Patrick Star. And there's also the pineapple milkshake thing, which was somewhat underwhelming. Like I was kind of expecting a bigger explosion of flavor from that, honestly. Pineapple float, sorry, that's what it was. I'm getting menus mixed up because of, the other Steven in the Delayed Replay universe told me what the collab at Burger King had earlier this year in that universe, so I'm getting menus mixed up a little. So I'm glad I tried it, but you're not missing out too much if you miss out on this SpongeBob meal thing from Burger King. But anyway, as far as new stuff I've been watching, we're in that time of the year where getting into the holiday releases with varying quality. I mean, I did watch Thanksgiving finally on Thanksgiving last week, and that was bad, so that kind of set the bar low. So some of these other things aren't as bad. I think I would rate the Family Guy special on the same level, if not for different reasons, though. I give this 4 out of 10. It's called Disney's Hulu's Family Guy's Hallmark Channel's Lifetime's Familiar Holiday Movie. It's not really a movie. It's only a half hour, less than that, even, maybe. And it does parody Hallmark and Lifetime, I guess. I do think a lot of those things are subpar. The Frankenstein Hallmark miniseries is an exception. That was really good. Watched that recently and it was really good. But the holiday stuff from those channels is super underwhelming. But even so, this parody of those types of movies didn't really feel like it added anything. Like, it was pretty much just doing the things that those types of movies would do, which I thought the Simpsons episode from 5 years ago that had like Heartmark or whatever and was trying to be like a Hallmark movie, I thought that did it better and was more entertaining. In fact, I rewatched it and yeah, I thought it was a bit more fun. Other holiday stuff that's new, I watched A Merry Little Xmas. I think this is one of those Netflix movies. And it was really distracting how many times they were talking about Harry Potter, especially with how politically charged things are these days. But yeah, I'd give that film a 4 as well. Jingle Bell Heist, I gave a 5 out of 10. I liked the premise, but beyond that, it didn't really do much. Like, I wasn't as invested in the characters really. You know, it tries to do a heist, but it's not as fun. My Secret Santa, I gave a 6 out of 10. I think all of these are Netflix things. I was a bit more invested in the characters there. It's kind of a reverse Mrs. Doubtfire. A mom tries to get a job as a Santa to help pay for her daughter's like snowboard school type of thing. So interesting idea there. With it being kind of like 12th Night, I kind of feel like they missed the mark not calling it 12th Night of Christmas. There's also Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw, which is fine. You know, you're basically what you expect when you watch these 3D animated Diary of a Wimpy Kid things. You get what you get. It's good. You know, it's average. Also, apparently recently they put that movie Life Size from back in the year 2000, you know, Lindsay Lohan and the Barbie type doll that becomes a human woman. They put that on Disney Plus around the time Freakier Friday started streaming on there. And that's a movie that's been, Life Size, I should say, is a movie that has been unavailable officially on streaming for years. So this was kind of a big deal. And I also checked out the sequel, Life Size 2. And I feel like it's on the same level as the first movie, which both of those I'd give 6s. Like, they're both just okay. I kind of feel like people are blinded by nostalgia for the first movie, so they rate the second one harshly, when really I kind of feel like they're both the same amount of, I don't know, a goofy cheesiness, but with some lessons that are worth taking into account. So, I don't know. Overall, kind of just a mixed bag of stuff I've been watching lately. I did watch the first 3 episodes of Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's kind of taking a bit for me to break into that world, but the animation is pretty good. Then between that and the first 2 episodes of The Mighty Nine, which my friend showed me last week, I loved those episodes a lot, and I've been meaning to continue. It's just been tough finding the time. But yeah, as far as animation goes, I've got my work cut out for me, I guess, in terms of animation that's new for me. Probably the biggest highlight this week, though, in terms of watching content that's new to me, is I went with my friends Emily and Haley to see Saw the Musical. Been wanting to see this for a while. My friend Alyssa stars in it as well. There are 3 performers and they cycle through the different characters like Adam, Lawrence, Amanda, Jigsaw, Zep, Allison, Diana. So it was really masterful how it was done, and it was hilarious. And in this version, Adam and Lawrence are gay, so they play that up. And there are also little hints of things that happen in some of the sequels. So I'd be kind of curious to hear whether any people who've maybe only seen the first movie, like if they pick up on those lines, or if they sort of miss them. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to ask about that, because like I don't want to end up unintentionally spoiling people of like, oh, this happens in one of the sequels. Did you notice that they reference that? But anyway, it was a fun time. Go see Saw the Musical. We saw it in Hollywood. It's so good. It's so fun. And also saw Emily's first official show as a Improv City team member on Tuesday. So that would have been 2 days after we saw the musical. It was a really fun show. Always a fun time watching these improv shows. I guess the last thing to bring up in terms of entertainment is apparently Netflix has bought Warner Brothers. I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't really know what to expect. It's pretty easy to be cynical about this, but I guess I'm kind of at a wait and see type of mode right now. But also another big thing that just got announced is the confirmation that the 50th anniversary theatrical re-release of Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope will be a restoration of the original version of the original film. So this is exciting, and yeah, it's not going to be exactly the original edit as it was in 77 from the sounds of it, but I believe something that will be close to that, maybe touched up so that it sounds great for today's standards, I imagine. But yeah, I don't know. This is exciting because the special edition changes onward. There are some things I really cannot stand about those versions. Like, there are some changes I don't mind, but either way, I feel like the versions prior to those changes, it's always been a really annoying thing that they're not as available as the newer versions. So I'm sure the turnout will be great when this is in theaters in, I think, February 2027 is what they're saying. So hopefully, my hope is that that leads to home media release of that version as well. I mean, there's a built-in audience for this thing. How could they not? So I guess we'll wait and see. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it from me for now. Next week's episode will be the Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. So keep an eye out for that, and without further delay, have a good day.